Hello everyone, welcome back to The Egg. Today I'll be going through some cultural do's and don'ts when going to the UK. Alright, so let's get into it. First thing is don't jump the queue. Okay, this is the most important thing when going to the UK. What most people do in the UK is when we go get food or we go to the train station, we all line up one by one at a time. If someone jumps the queue or walks past another person, you will be hated by literally everyone because it is just the worst thing ever. Okay? It's the biggest cultural thing. So if you want people to like you, don't jump the queue. That's the first thing. In a similar vein, in a similar situation, is when going on the escalator, stand on the right side, not the left side, okay? So the right side is where everyone queues up to go on the escalator at the same time. Going on the left is for if you're rushing and you're walking up the stairs, okay? Cool. The cultural tip number 2 is please respect personal space. And the best way to do this is to keep an arm's length away from the person you're talking to. Okay, people really do not like when people are really close by. It can be a bit intimidating. It can be seen as quite an aggressive move. Okay, so please don't do that. Another thing is when in the UK, don't try to stare at people for a long time, okay? Staring is considered quite rude. So if you do this to someone for a very long time, it can be seen as quite rude and quite off-putting. It can really put people off, and it's some people may see it as quite an aggressive act. I definitely have experience where people who stare at you, you're like, what are you staring at? And then people can get really aggressive with it. So try to avoid staring for long periods of time, okay? For number 3, this is for greeting and saying goodbye. Especially in professional environments, the way you greet people is to shake hands, okay? And you do this when you say hello and when you say goodbye. And make sure it's not like a little, it's like a quite firm handshake, okay? When meeting people or being introduced by someone else, it's good advice to shake people's hands when first meeting them, okay? So it's a nice, quick, firm handshake. Cultural tip number 4, right? Yeah, cultural tip number 4. This is make sure when going through buildings, make sure you hold the door for the next person going by. Okay, it's seen as a very polite thing to do. And if you don't do it, it can be seen as very rude. And on the flip side, if someone's holding the door for you, make sure you say thank you. Okay, very important. Otherwise, it can be seen as quite rude or impolite. Cultural tip number 5. When eating at a restaurant, there are a few things you need to consider. First thing is don't wave at a waiter when asking for food or when you need a waiter. Don't shout, excuse me, or something like that. All you need to do is just put up your hand and that's it. And then a waiter will come. Everything to do with dining can be seen as quite rude. If you shout or click your fingers, this can be seen as really rude. So don't do that. Another thing is make sure when eating a meal with a group, make sure everyone has their meal before you start eating, okay? It may seem obvious, but some people may just start eating their food and people are just there like, still waiting for their meal, okay? It can be seen as really rude and you're quite impatient if you do that. Another thing is after you finish eating your meal, you put your cutlery to the side of the plate together. Finally, if you're being invited to a house, gifts are usually expected when going to someone's house for the first time. So say for example, if I was to invite a friend over, they are expected to bring like a bottle of wine or some sort of gift, okay? Okay, so hopefully with all the bits of advice I've given, you'll have an easier time navigating the cultural and social norms of the UK. If you want to learn more about British culture or practices and norms, please subscribe here. Thank you very much. And thank you very much today. No, that didn't make sense. I got to do it again. Okay, so hopefully with everything that's been told today, sorry, can I start again? So if you want to learn more about the UK or anything else, why?